Thank you for joining us for this look at some of the best stories from KPBS News this week. I'm John Carroll. Coming up, San Diego is looking for ways to squeeze revenue out of downtown streets. Learn how valet fees might be the next to rise. The impact of remote work, the challenges of climbing the career ladder, especially for those balancing responsibilities at home. And a sweet legacy in Santee. See how a new generation is making sure Mary's Donuts remains a community staple. Those who rely on food assistance received good news Friday morning. The county announced SNAP benefits are being delivered to accounts in full. That capped a week of worry as the ongoing government shutdown and moves by the Trump administration put that money into doubt. Katie Hyson visited one of the nearly 400,000 locals dealing with that uncertainty.
Normally, Maria Hernandez gets $130 a month in grocery assistance. Now she's expecting about $60, if anything.
I got nervous, I got scared, I got worried, like, how are we going to eat?
She started swapping fresh food for cans and boxes.
Or spaghettis, stuff like, stuff that's not really that good for you, but, it's something that's going to fill your stomach.
She has help. Churches, a Poway food bank where she says the line has suddenly stretched to the hundreds. Family, if she's really in a pinch. She worries about people who don't have all that support.
I feel bad for the other people, like the other mothers that are out there with a lot of children that aren't going to be able to feed their kids.
Thanksgiving is weeks away.
I'm kind of like contemplating, like, am I going to be able to make my dish this year?
Normally, she'd make her signature potato casserole for her family and neighbors. Frozen hash browns, cream of chicken soup, sour cream, and crackers. But this year, she's not sure if she'll be able to afford the ingredients.
I'm hoping and praying the government opens up next month, because if next month comes around, what else are they going to get rid of? If it's CalFresh, what's next? Section 8? With people getting their disability, people getting welfare. What's next?
A county spokesperson says they're waiting on word from the state. Katie Hyson, KPBS News.
Katie's story is available in English and Spanish on kpbs.org. It also includes a list of local food assistance providers. The rising cost of living is a theme playing out all over San Diego, including on our streets. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says valet parking zones will be the next to see higher fees.
Curb space in downtown San Diego is extremely valuable. Parking meters are bringing in a lot more money since the city doubled its meter rates earlier this year. And city transportation officials say curb spots set aside for valet parking represent lost revenue. The city council today voted to increase the permit fees for valet parking zones if they take up more than 2 parking spaces. Downtown hotel owners said the proposed fee increase is excessive.
It's a safety issue. We've all gone to hotels before. It takes more than just a moment or two to get out of the car, be greeted properly by the valet, unload your bags, especially if you have kids, and travel today is not easy. And it's never really been easy.
In response to those concerns, the council decided to set the valet permit fees at a slightly lower level than what city staff had originally proposed. Councilmember Sean Ela Rivera voted against that change, saying the higher permit fees were something downtown hotels could afford.
At the end of the day, curbs, streets, and sidewalks are public spaces. Those are assets that belong to San Diegans. And when private, for-profit businesses use those spaces to generate revenue, I think it's fair that they contribute to the cost of maintaining and improving it.
City staff estimate the new fees will generate as much as $780,000 per year. That revenue has to be spent on transportation improvements, like filling potholes and fixing broken streetlights. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
After months of discussion, the National City Council struck down a controversial biofuel depot project this week. South Bay reporter Corey Suzuki says they decided the benefits for San Diego County would come at too high a cost for National City.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, USVG's got to go. The proposed depot had faced fiery opposition from residents, environmental groups, and the local school district. That's because it would rely on diesel-burning trains and trucks, bringing more air pollution to West National City, which already has a history of heavy industrial activity. Last month, the city council appeared divided on the project. They asked the Texas energy company behind it, USD Clean Fuels, to find offsets for the pollution. But in a surprise decision Tuesday night, council members voted unanimously to reject the project. Councilmember Luz Molina represents West National City.
The West Side has done its share. We are not saying no to progress. We're just not wanting to continue to be the price of it.
Vice Mayor Marcus Bush said the city needed to go even further.
I don't want this conversation to die here. I think we need to double down on our efforts on cleaning up OTNC, the West Side. I think there's a lot of different ways that we can work together and do that.
Residents and environmental activists erupted into cheers following the decision. Amy Castañeda is with the Environmental Health Coalition. She says their plans now are to continue to push for cleanup of existing pollution in the city.
We're excited and we're looking forward to those opportunities. So, I think first we rest and then we get back to work.
For now, Castañeda says National City residents can all breathe a little easier. In a statement, USD Clean Fuel said they were disappointed in the decision and would evaluate their next steps. Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
Sign up for our newsletters to get a list of our most popular stories. Here are some from this week. California voters approve Prop 50, which could make East County's congressional seat more competitive. Poway City Council member Tony Blaine resigns 1 day after voters approved a recall. And San Diego considers a steep tax on vacation rentals and second homes. The pandemic has undoubtedly changed the way we work. Gone are the days of clocking in and out at the office every day. There's a lot more flexibility these days. But does working remotely impact men and women differently? As Maya Trabulsi reports, some economic experts say it could.
Cheryl taking good care of you?
Yeah, of course she
good,
is. Always.
Good.
Manpower San Diego CEO Phil Blair lives and breathes employment trends.
We're churning. That's our business, is to churn people. So we see everything in the employment market, good and bad.
He says in return to office post-pandemic times, organizations are more comfortable with flexible working hours and locations, and it allows companies to keep good employees. But he says in-office networking, like so-called water cooler conversations, can be a crucial part of career advancement.
Whereas you bump in the hall, or you say, let's go have lunch, or join us, we're going down the hall, or I baked some cookies. It's that interaction, it's that human nature of knowing people and trusting them. So you have to be visible to do that. On the screen, Zoom or Teams or whatever, it's not the same.
But data shows men and women aren't returning to the office at the same rate. According to a recent U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics survey, the percentage of men working from home dropped from 34% to 29% from 2023 to 2024, while the share of women working from home stayed largely the same at 36%. Other data suggests some women left the workforce entirely because of return-to-office rules.
Having a one-size-fits-all approach to management doesn't work.
Liz Lyons is associate professor at UC San Diego. She also helps companies with their hybrid and remote work policies. Lyons says for women, the benefits of remote work is less about location than it is about flexible working hours.
So I don't think it's like this unique moment. It's just that if we want to continue the progress that we have been seeing, allowing for individual needs and not taking a kind of blunt force approach to management, I think is important.
She says it's not surprising that more women opt for remote work because they disproportionately shoulder the burden of non-pay-based work, like child or elder care. But she says the lack of visibility could put them at a disadvantage that exacerbates income and wealth inequity.
The idea that forcing women into the office is going to fix this is not the right idea, because when that does happen, we're seeing women exit the labor force altogether.
Lyons says that managers can personalize work arrangements as incentives. An example would be allowing workers to choose days to come into the office to facilitate interaction. At Manpower San Diego, they're doing that with a weekly potluck.
I can see why this brings people back into the office very happily.
I am making a salad. We have Jamaican peas, rice and peas, and jerk turkey.
Manpower San Diego Vice President of HR Heather Whitley Quinn helps prepare food for the team and shares the Wednesday menu on social media.
We've been really flexible, trying to be flexible in dropping kids off, picking kids up, coming in and getting clothes done by 12:30, and then being able to scoot on and do what you need to do with your rest of your day.
Phil Blair says that digital-only work shows an employee is skill-oriented, but if they want to advance...
The money and the progression is leadership-oriented, where I see you work with your team, and wow, we got a star there. Versus, well, she does all hers on Zoom, and I guess she's good, but we don't know.
So how do people who choose to work from home make their interactions count?
So women have to be a little more assertive when they are in the office, or find ways to, let's meet for a drink, let's have lunch, let's have dinner, and catch up.
I think the other thing is that all remote workers should think about just spending some time pinging coworkers for no reason, sending them silly videos or whatever opens the door for these more serendipitous interactions.
In terms of like the risks that women take in having remote-only jobs, what can they do to prevent the recognition gap?
I think one is just to, be brave and talk about your accomplishments. I know many women relative to men are uncomfortable with that, but just doing it and reminding yourself that, if you want to be able to stay in the workforce, manage your competing demands on your time, which are so hard for so many women, speaking up for yourself can support that. And so if that can give them some courage to be uncomfortable in that way, I think that's really critical.
She adds that there have been no studies that show hybrid work is bad for productivity, yet many studies that show it is good for productivity.
So the productivity-based explanation for not allowing hybrid work just doesn't resonate, and I've never seen a good explanation for it.
While the workplace has largely changed from a single worker type, Lyons and Blair believe it is incumbent on the individual to close the gap in visibility while enjoying the age of flexibility.
Maya Trabulsi reporting. The balance of online and in-person interactions was also a theme at the recent TwitchCon held here in San Diego. KPBS arts reporter Audie McAfee talked to a few streamers about the effects on mental health, both positively and negatively.
Twitch is a live streaming platform launched in June 2011. Since then, it's become the largest streaming platform in the world, averaging 31 million daily visitors. There's all kinds of genres to watch from, just chatting and IRL to cooking, gaming, and more. As the platform continues to grow, so does the conversation around mental health and boundaries for both streamers and their audiences. Miriam Matter is a neuroscience researcher. She says people are spending more time online than ever.
There was a report from 2024 that stated, worldwide, globally, people spend approximately 7 hours a day online, which is pretty staggering. And by the time, we reach 80 years old, we would have spent about 17 years of our lives online, which is quite intense to think about.
Spending hours watching streamers can lead to what's called a parasocial relationship. Coined in the 1950s, the term describes a one-sided emotional bond a person can form with a media figure or a fictional character, even without any real connection.
My community is very nice, and my community is amazing, and they're very welcoming.
I did not want to have to do a stream like this.
At this year's TwitchCon, streamer Amiru says she was assaulted by a fan during a meet and greet. The incident drew attention to the potential dangers of parasocial relationships. Matter says donations can create complicated dynamics between streamers and their audiences.
I feel like there are damaging elements to being online so much that people feel they know you, and people feel they can approach you, and people feel they can cross boundaries that they wouldn't normally cross with strangers in the street, because they spend so much time watching you online and you give so much of your personality. And we're not seeing 100%.
Matter says not every parasocial relationship is harmful if the viewer sees the streamer as an inspiration or representation, but they should remember that the streamer is not their friend. Streamers also deal with hateful comments in their chats. Those who post them are often called keyboard warriors, people who send mean messages online that they'd never say face-to-face. Streamer Psyculturist plays games live while analyzing them through a psychology lens. He says he tries to turn hate messages into learning moments.
No, I'm just curious, like, what do you mean by that, right? What do you mean that, for example, they're like, oh, well, you're brown, you're chubby, how can you be a psychologist, you're educated, like stuff like that. What do you mean by that? Okay, so please tell me more, right? And all of a sudden, they're on the ring, and they're like, well, what do I say? And it's not to put them on the spot, but it's a learning opportunity for individuals to learn that that is not okay, right?
Another streamer, Briggsy, says they don't tolerate any messages that make them uncomfortable.
I don't think the block button is being used enough. The second some nonsense comes on my feed, block. I don't have time for explanations.
With all the hours streamers spend online curating content and engaging with viewers, Briggsy says it's important to take breaks and reconnect with the world around them.
Go outside, even if it's just to take a walk, even if it's to go around the corner to get your favorite candy bar, even if it's just to say hi to your neighbor, or hell, go to a park, go look at puppies. I know it sounds really simple and people say it all the time in jest or even derisively, but it's a fact. You feel 100% better when you come back inside.
Despite the challenges of streaming and the incidents that sometimes make headlines, Psyculturist says Twitch has helped him reach people who need mental health resources.
I've had a lot of viewers come through and message, because of your streams, because you started analyzing an anime that I like, it inspired me to go seek help, and now they have therapists, and now they have the support that they need to actually go through with their everyday life.
Matters says everyone navigates online spaces differently, and that's why knowing your limit matters.
I think it's really important to think about what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel yourself, what you are willing to accept, what your boundaries would look like. Set those clear boundaries and stick to them. And that's the most important thing. You have to put yourself first and prioritize your health, whether it's mental or physical. Both are just as important as each other.
Audie McAfee, KPBS News.
It's opening weekend for the San Diego Asian Film Festival. KPBS cinema junkie Beth Accomando previews some of the smaller films that may fly under the radar at the 10-day event.
This year, the San Diego Asian Film Festival will showcase 150 films from 30 countries. And for the first time, it'll kick off in North County, says artistic director Brian Hu.
We are going to have our opening night film at the La Paloma Theater in Encinitas. It's a venue that we love, that is historic, one of the few single-screen theaters left in San Diego. It's a way for us to show that our festival is different than watching a film on Netflix. It's an event. It's experiential. It's collective.
And there's no better way to celebrate that collective experience than with the restored Bollywood classic, Andes Apna Apna.
Yes, you can maybe watch them on streaming one day, but you can't replicate that energy you get from that theatrical experience, especially for these sort of rowdy movies that don't take themselves too seriously, but that have just this endless feeling of fun and this unabashed commitment to having fun.
A very different kind of communal experience comes with the work of Filipino filmmaker Lav Diaz. This year, he delivers a historical epic called Magellan that takes him into new territory.
The elements of it that are new for him, it's a period film, but it also brings to the fore the perspective of the quote-unquote native people. Lav Diaz is interested in the fact that Magellan, this is not really a spoiler, but he dies in the Philippines. So he's interested in the way that the Philippines has a kind of symbolism in terms of the Western globalization.
At the opposite end of the spectrum is the festival's most oddly titled film, Julian Castronovo's debut, or Objects of the Field of Debris, as currently catalogued.
There are many documents and recordings which testify to this tale, but at certain points, nonetheless, our trail of clues becomes lost, as if aimlessly winding itself through a dense fog which seemingly no amount of scrutiny or investigation might dispel.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a millennial noir made on a desktop. So it's freed of having to do all the noir things like the black and white and the shadows, all the things that just are all very become sort of the stereotype of noir. Instead, he's focusing on some of the essence of just the weirdness of society and the alienation and cracking this mystery.
And finally, there's a supernatural tale that takes us in a very unexpected direction.
And there's a film from Thailand called A Useful Ghost about this person who comes back as a ghost but takes the form of a vacuum cleaner. So it's a ghost film, but it's also a hilarious comedy, and it's the kind of thing that is both artful and strange, but also exciting enough to be Thailand's submission for the Oscars.
No matter what you're looking for, you can find it at the San Diego Asian Film Festival. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
In Tijuana, this year's Dia de los Muertos featured tributes to journalists killed for doing their jobs. KPBS video journalist Matthew Bowler says just last month, another Mexican journalist was targeted.
Traditional Dia de Muertos ofrendas are decorated with calaveras, or sugar skulls, cempasúchil, or marigold flowers, and pan de muerto, or bread of the dead. This ofrenda also has broken cell phones, old cameras, press passes, old newspapers, and notebooks.
Margarito was gunned down coming out of his home, and less than a week later, Lourdes Maldonado was killed when she was arriving to her house.
Vicente Calderon has been a journalist in Tijuana since 1985. Inspired by a UN campaign to end impunity against journalists, he and others have been putting up an ofrenda to honor journalists killed in Mexico since 2016. Cempasúchil petals are used to spell out the words no impunidad, or no impunity.
Impunity is not compliance with the rule of law and the lack of punishment to whoever who commit a crime.
Just last Sunday, it was reported that another journalist was killed. Miguel Angel Beltran's body was left on the side of the road, wrapped in a sheet with the message, por andar levantando falso a la gente de Durango, for raising false alarms against the people of Durango. He was 60 years old.
This is the 10th. We are averaging one reporter killed a month. Let's knock on wood and hope that there's no more killings this year.
According to Reporters Without Borders, Mexico is the 124th least safe country for journalists. Palestine is 163. The United States is 57. And Norway is the safest. This year, the ofrenda includes a special section to honor journalists killed while reporting the war in Gaza and the screening of an Al Jazeera documentary, Silenced, the Killing of Journalists in Mexico.
Lourdes Maldonado.
According to UNESCO worldwide, more than 1,800 journalists have been killed since 2006, and 85% of them remain judicially unresolved. And this altar, built by Mexican journalists, honors their work.
We are bringing back the reporters killed for this occasion to tell them that we respected their efforts and we believe that journalism is alive.
In Tijuana, Matthew Bowler, KPBS News.
KPBS is hosting a digital community ofrenda with over 400 submissions from our audience. You can view the altar and see all the stories by going to kpbs.org/Day of the Dead. The founder and owner of Mary's Donuts, Mary Hennessy, served fresh donuts and coffee to the Santee community for 4 decades. Hennessy passed away last month, but KPBS reporter Elaine Alfaro talked to her granddaughter, who says her legacy will live on.
Most mornings, you'll find Kelly Hennessy working the counter at Mary's Donuts, greeting customers and working the register.
Our donuts are good, they're always good. Consistency at a donut shop is key. You don't come back if someone does it wrong. You only get one chance with some people. So being consistent, being reliable, the most important thing in this business.
But on a recent Monday, there was a sadness accompanying the usual bustle. Kelly wore a black sweater, and across the room on the shop's original counter was a collection of flowers, cards, candles, and photos, a makeshift memorial for the shop's owner and founder, Mary Hennessy. She passed away last month at the age of 94. But the spirit she brought to the shop is still felt.
She really brought a sense of community to this place and just making eye contact, talking to people, really caring what they said. Those were all really important things to her.
The chopping you hear are apples being diced to make Mary's signature delicacy, the apple fritter. Mary's Donuts has been part of the Santee community for more than 40 years. Generations have grown up coming to the 24/7 donut shop.
Well, I think having a business that's open 24 hours a day and is able to serve the community is really important. To be reliable, to be there for people, it allows for once again, you need to be counted on.
Mary hadn't planned on being in the donut business, but one day in 1973, her late husband, Donald, handed her a help wanted ad from Winchell's. She worked at Winchell's for a decade. Then in 1984, she decided to go into business for herself. She took over a shop in Santee named Zona's, and eventually renamed it Mary's.
So these are my grandparents, Donald Hennessy and Mary Hennessy. Looks like it's from 1997 at the old location. Her reading the paper, him reading the paper, having a cup of coffee. This is pretty typical, you know. They love to hang out, they love to see the people.
Mary wanted that casual hangout energy to be reflected in the space. Pictures of her clientele started appearing on the walls.
It was important to her to reflect the community. It wasn't about her, it was about these people in this place living life together.
Lainey McShay came by the shop to pick up donuts for her and her daughter that Monday.
I think it's honestly just been the owner is so wonderful, was so wonderful, and she was just did a lot of things to the community. There was a lot of sponsors and things like that.
10-year-old Milan Flores and 13-year-old London Flores also came in with their family for their favorite donuts.
How do you think Donut Shop or Mary have impacted the community out here in Santee?
Pretty big, I think. Everybody loves Mary's. I think everyone will be a little sad still, but everyone will come and memorize her by getting her donuts still.
Not all that long ago, Kelly was London's age. Today, her childhood memories are sprinkled throughout the shop.
Third from the bottom in the middle here, that's me as a little kid. My grandmother owned it, and she kind of let me have the run of the place. She would set up special spots so I could decorate donuts, do all the things.
She didn't know it then, but this on-the-job training was preparing her for what was ahead. Now she feels a responsibility to honor her grandmother's legacy.
It's important for me to just keep doing what she's always done. She wanted us to be here, she wanted us to be reliable, she wanted to help people, she wanted to give people the opportunity to grow and do better. And I want to do the same thing.
A public celebration of life for Mary will be held at the Town Center Community Park East in Santee on November 15th. Elaine Alfaro, KPBS News.
We hope you enjoyed this look at KPBS News this week. I'm John Carroll. Thank you so much for joining us.